What's good, everybody? This is Emerald Knight Leon back with another deck analysis. Today we're going to go over the deck list that I've basically built based on my own cards for Metal Garurumon X-Antibody. And this is definitely a deck that I wish I could run a bit more efficiently, and I'll explain why. But to start off, we are running 4 copies of Sunomon. Sunomon is really the only Digi-Egg you want. I guess if you wanted, you could run something like Upamon maybe, just for the draw power, but really you want the Sunomon because of that plus 1000, which can come in clutch in certain cases. As for our level 3s, we're running 4 copies of Gabumon from BT-09. He's one of our searchers. He's basically looking for our Garurumons and our Omnimon. We're also running 4 copies of Gabumon X-Antibody. He's also a searcher, so even if early game you don't have a lot of level 3s in hand, if you have him, you could hard play him if you wanted to get his on-play effect. We also have 3 copies of Starter Deck 8 Gabumon. Basically, he's giving us an extra 1000 DP if we have 8 or more cards in hand. And trust me, with Cool Boy, we're going to have a lot of cards in hand because of what we're running. And then finally, we got 2 copies of Madoki Beta. Originally, I was trying out 3, but I feel 2 is a bit easier to work with because you want to be consistently seeing a lot of your Garus when you're searching your deck. And the only way you're going to get Madoki Beta from searching is through Blue Memory Boost and Davis, which if you're using those cards, you're probably looking for your Garu cards. So really, just having him at 2, just in case we have him starting in hand, can be a useful thing, especially late game if our opponent is setting up to get a lot of memory out from card effects. Onto our level 4s, though, we are running 4 copies of BT-09 Garurumon. Like Greymon, he's basically gained the 1 memory if digivolving off of Gabumon, and he also has the inherited. While this Digimon has Garu or Omni in name, it gets plus 1000, which is really useful. If we get the perfect stack of Gabu, Suno, Garu, that's 3000 right there. We're also running 4 copies of Garu X. Like the Greymon line, by his inherited lets you trash 2 of the same level Digimon in order to prevent destruction. But whereas the Gray line, that inherited focuses mainly on card effects or effects that bounce the Digimon back to hand or deck or deletes it through a card effect. The Garu effect is primarily based on being deleted in battle, and that can mean being deleted through swinging into one of your opponent's Digimon, or your opponent swinging into you, or swinging into your opponent's security and hitting a Digimon that has more DP. We'll also be running 2 copies of the Promo Garurumon. This is the one where when attacking, if it has Garurumon in its name, trigger draw 1 as it's inherited. Ideally, I wanted to run 3, but Garurumon currently is running at about $13 right now and is expensive. If you don't have them, you're going to have to try to restructure your deck to include more draw power in that case, because his inherited is very useful. But you'll see, if you look at a lot of other Garurumon decks that are topping in tournaments, a lot of them are running this Promo Garurumon at 4. If you have the money for it, by all means, go for it. If you don't, there are other ways you can try to run the deck. It's just going to be a bit more tricky and maybe a slower paced. One such idea that I did have was running, instead of the EX1 Metal Garu, running BT-01 Garu, so that you can run the BT-01 Garurumon in order to just unsuspend and keep attacking if needed. That's one way of running it. Moving on to our level 5s, we are running 4 copies of Weregaru X-Antibody, 4 copies of the Promo Weregarumon, and 1 copy of the new Garurumon, Weregarumon Sagittarius. So the reason why this is a no data thing is mainly because on Digimon Card Dev, they haven't included the new Metal Greymon Ultras and Weregarurumon Sagittarius. So that's just there as a placeholder. But, moving on, Weregaru X-Antibody, it digivolves from 0 off of your Weregarurumon. So this can also include your Sagittarius because it has an effect that lets it be treated as Weregarurumon. It has the effect of unsuspend this Digimon, and then if Weregarurumon or X-Antibody is in its Digivolution stack, you can return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon back to their hand. This can be very useful. Going onwards, though, we are running 4 copies of the promo Weregarurumon. This is, again, the promo one. It is a bit pricey right now, running about 13 as well. So if you already got them, great job. If you don't, it's going to be a little more tricky for you. Definitely, we'll cover some replacement cards that you could run, but outside of that, it does have the when attacking once per turn. If this Digimon has Garurumon in its Digivolution stack, unsuspend this Digimon and it's inherited. While you have 8 or more cards in your hand, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So this is very useful. Essentially, it makes your Metal X a bit more of a threat by swinging in twice and then potentially being able to unsuspend itself. The logic is you're going to swing in with this twice, get the 2 checks off of that, then you're going to go into your Weregaru X or going to your Sagittarius for 0. If you're going into Sagittarius, we'll talk about it right now. It digivolves off of Weregaru for 0. It is treated as Weregaru, and when digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, return 2 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to their hand. So if your opponent is running, say, D Brigade, how this works is you're swinging in twice with promo Weregaru. He's now suspended. You're going to digivolve into Sagittarius mode. He's going to bounce 2 of your opponent's D Brigade cards back to hand. And then you're going to digivolve into X-Antibody for 0 as well, which will let him unsuspend. And then if your opponent has anything extra on board that's a level 4 or lower, you bounce that back to hand as well. And then you'll be able to swing in with 2 checks potentially against your opponent because you might have 8 cards in hand. So promo Weregaru's effect inherited will kick in. So that is really one way of going about it. You want to be able to consistently find your X-Antibody though, which is why I do run it at 4. As well as the promo at 4, and we just have 1 Sagittarius. If you wanted, you could run 2 Sagittarius to maybe change some more consistently, but this is how I've gone through it. Moving on to our level 6s, though, we are running 2 copies of Metal Guru from EX1 and 4 copies of BT-09 Metal Guru. So originally I was running 3 copies, but I wasn't seeing it consistently enough, personally. And I felt like just going in with 4 copies would be nice. I might try out 3-3 if I wanted, but consistently I feel like I want to go into Metal X more because at that point I'm going to have X-Antibody under it. So to trigger its effect, I don't necessarily need Metal Guru. It is just nice to have. Speaking of Metal Garurumon though, when digivolving, gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your hand, which is going to be very nice. If you have 8 cards in hand, you're going to be able to gain 2. If you're at 2 memory, you're going to basically bring it back to your turn by putting you at 0. The only way this could be negated is through anything like a Madoki Beta or Chumon. He also has when attacking, if you have 8 or more cards in hand and a Tamer in play, return one of your opponent's Digimon with an on-deletion effect to the bottom of their deck. In a red matchup, there's not a lot that can do that. It is mainly for other matchups like, say, purple. If you're going against a Cherubi player that's running purple hybrid in there, that can be used on, what's his name, Rihimon. But otherwise, you're really using it to bounce into your X-Antibody. Speaking of X-Antibody, though, we got Metal Guru X-Antibody. It digivolves off of Metal Guru for 1. And it has when Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. It gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. And then once per turn, during your turn, which can even include the unsuspend phase, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, if Metal Garurumon or X-Antibody is in its Digivolution cards, return all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level to their hand. So this makes him a literal nuke every turn for your opponent. Because if they cannot get rid of him on their turn, they have to hard play something with a low play cost just to have it be bounced back the next turn. This can make it a little harder for them, because if they don't have a means of killing off your Metal Guru or a means of bouncing it or any such, that is their only option. Because then their heaviest hitters could be just rendered nullified and bounce back to hand. As for our level 7, we are running 1 copy of BT-5 Blitz Omnimon. You could run it at 2. You would have to take something out. I probably would reduce the X-Antibody Were-Guru to 3 in that case if I wanted to run a second Omni. But he is essentially what you're going to go for game with. If you don't have him, there are some other cards that I will cover that can do similar things. But outside of that, he also unsuspends himself and then blitzes. And then if an opponent's effect would delete him or return him to your hand or deck, you can prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 card in its stack. Best case scenario, that gives him 2 freebies if you have Metal Guru and then Metal Guru X on him. So that's just 2 freebies right there. As for our option cards, we're running 1 copy of Ice Wall. Basically, again, the reason it was restricted to 1, all of your opponent's Digimon gain when attacking lose 2 memory until the end of their next turn, and then its security effect gain 2 memory, like Hammer Spark. We'll also be running 2 copies of Blue Memory Boost. We use it for its delay effect, but also to search our deck for our Metal Guru cards and our Guru cards, and even our Madoki Beta or our Gabumon cards, because the Gabumon cards can only search for Guru or Omni, so we can't search for our own Gabus. So if we're running into an issue where we don't have Gabus, that's our solution. We also run 3 copies of X-Antibody, gain 1 memory and add it to its owner's hand when coming from security. Then place this card under one of your Digimon without X-Antibody and its Digivolution cards as its bottom Digivolution card. So what you want to do then is you have to put it under either Sagittarius, your Promo, or any of your other Gurus, but they cannot be any of your X-Antibody cards. So that is the main issue there. And then also, effects can't trash X-Antibody in this Digimon's Digivolution cards. So if your opponent is going to trash multiple cards, it skips over this card and then goes to the next available target. And then when attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X-Antibody and its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So how this is going to work is, say you put it under your Were-Guru, you're gonna, or better yet, you wait till after you swing with your Were-Guru, then you go into, before swinging the last one, go into your Sagittarius, swing, and then go into your X-Antibody for free. He's going to unsuspend himself, and then you swing again and go to your Metal X from there. That is a way to use it, essentially. Finally, for our Tamers, we are running 2 copies of Davis. He's our memory fixer, and he searches our deck. And 3 copies of Cool Boy, which will also search for our X-Antibody cards, as well as our X-Antibody option card. As well as when we Digivolve into a Digimon with the same level, and an X-Antibody in its trait, we can suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory and draw 1. I will mention, though, Cool Boy is expensive. Lately, it has been seen at around $5. So if you want to get a lot of Cool Boys but don't have the money, please hold off, unless you have the money. Moving on, though, we do have a couple cards that we could run to substitute. So, for example, we have 3 other Gabumons that we could run reliably. There's the Draw 1 Hard Play Gabu. There is the EX1 Gabumon, which will search our deck for Tamers and other cards with Gabumon in their name. So, if you are trying to find your Gabumon X-Antibody, he can search for it, but also he can search out your Cool Boy. And we also have the original starter deck 2, Gabumon, trashing the Digivolution card of at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon with a level of 5 or less. So early game, if your opponent's trying to set up in their not their hard playing stuff, you could try to mitigate some of that with him. But the other two are probably the more worthwhile cards. Now, as I mentioned, there is BT-01 Garurumon. He's on plays, unsuspend one of your Digimon. If you don't have the draw one Garu, he can be the Metal Garu from BT-01 could be useful. It's a bit of a slower version of the deck. Basically, when attacking, play one level 4 or lower Digimon from under this card as another Digimon without paying its cost. So you're going to swing, bring in your Garurumon, and then possibly go into your X-Antibody so he can get more swings. As for if you don't have Omnimon, you could run Lobomon or Kumamon as hybrids to go for game. Other option is the Garurumon from EX1. Now, the reason I bring this one up, Cool Boy is expensive. I like to think Cool Boy is the analog youth of this set, just not to an absurd degree. Analog youth at one point was about $15. So, and thankfully, Cool Boy hasn't reached that yet. But if you don't have Cool Boy, running the BT-6 Matt Ishida could be useful, as it does a similar thing to Yuji in that when you raise a Digimon with Gabumon or Garurumon in their name, you gain 1 memory and draw 1. So he can still give you a bit more of a draw power. And having this Garurumon, which has when attacking, you may play once per turn, you may play 1 Matt Ishida with a play cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying its cost. So that is an option you can work with. There's also the starter deck 2 Garurumon, which trashes Digivolution card at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. It's an option, but I feel if you're going for more of a budget version, the EX1 works better. Moving on to our level 5 possible tech cards, I want to bring up the BT-01 Weregaru. BT-01 Weregaru, when attacking, gain 3 memory. At the end of turn, lose 3 memory. This is a risky card, but I could see it working because you're going to gain 3 memory. Essentially, if you've already put him into your raising and then you raise the next turn, and you already are at 3 memory, you gain 3, so you're going to be at 6. From there, you can just go into Ultras, go into your X-Antibody, go into your Metal Garu, and even go into your X-Antibody, potentially, depending on where you are, and really start wrecking house. The downside to this, though, is once you get to your opponent's side of the memory, you're going to lose 3 more memory. However, if your opponent's not running any memory fixers, this could be useful because you can choke them at 1 and they'll just go to 4. That's still a lot for them, but it's better than if you're doing a lot more. But it could potentially speed run your way to Omni, is what I'm saying. Because all it takes is just keep swinging and finding ways to unsuspend, and you have a means of victory. We also have the original BT-5 Sagittarius mode. While this Digimon has, with Weregaru in its name, is in its evolution cards, it gains jamming. So you'll be able to swing with no issues whatsoever. Downside is it's going to be you wouldn't be able to go into your X-Antibody for free because it is Sagittarius mode and it doesn't say it's treated as Weregarurumon. However, you could go into Weregarurumon, then into X-Antibody, and then into Sagittarius. So you're still going to get the benefits, and you're also going to get an extra 1,000 as an inherited. So that is an option here. It also makes swinging into your opponent with your stack a bit more reliable because then you can save the various double levels that you have for when you go into your Melga X. So there's that. We also have BT-7s, Weregarurumon with the on play. If you have a tamer in play, gain 2 memory. If you don't have a tamer, you may play 1 blue tamer from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that's an option. But also, its inherited is once per turn. When this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain 1 memory. So that can be useful if you're able to unsuspend your Digimon. For example, we also have EX1 Wereguru. When Digivolving, draw 1. And then also if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, gain 1 memory when attacking once per turn. That could actually be useful if you're trying to memory choke your opponent and you're not running Hammer Spark. But also there is the starter deck 2 Wereguru, which does have the inherited of while your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards, this Digimon gets security attack +1. It's a possible option, is what I'm saying. We've talked about BT-1 Metal Guru. I want to bring up BT-5 though, because yeah, while its effect is very meh, it does have a inherited of just gaining a memory when attacking. So what you could do is you have X-Antibody under, swing with this, go into Melga X, and you're going to gain that memory from when attacking. So that to mitigate the 1 cost. So there's an option for you. As for Tamers, Sora and Joe is still a good option. You're going to be able to, especially in an Alphamon matchup, or even any matchup that runs X-Antibody cards, being able to trash those consistently before they are able to go into their X-Antibody option card is going to be vital. So if you don't have Davis, this is an option, as well as the Kiyoshiro memory fixer, which will also be a fixer, but also when you're attacking with a level 5 or higher, if you have 7 or fewer cards in hand, you can suspend him to draw 1. And then we also have the Matt Ashita, which will also give us a draw power. As for options, Howling Memory Booster, again, trashing Digivolution cards can be useful. Hammer Spark, gaining memory. Cocytus Breath, just returning cards back to your opponent's hand. Definitely a major hit to any player that's not running the War Grey or Gaiomon builds. Howling Crusher would just wreck Alphamon and their stacks, but also another is Metal Storm, which would become a 5 cost if you have a Digimon with X-Antibody and its Digivolution cards. So there is that option too. But that is it for this analysis. Honestly, I see why people play Melga X. I see why. It's definitely a good deck. I will not deny that. It is really good. Would I play it more if I had a full playset of the Gurumon? Probably. But as my policy usually is, if I ever get a first place with a deck, I just put it away and move on to a new deck. Because at the end of the day, for me, I just prefer having fun and trying new decks. That's just my thing. But again, I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like, comment, tell me what you think of this. What would you change? Do you have any interesting builds and ideas for this? That's, talk about them. On a side note, though, I will be, my little project for Digimon Survive is still in the process of being worked on. It's probably going to come out sometime next week, I hope, if all things go to plan, mind you. But I did want to give a little update on that. And as for other deck analysis, I will be posting another one on Sunday. If there is none Sunday, there is going to be one Monday. I guarantee it. But again, I hope you enjoyed this deck analysis, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.